Hi, my name's Ethan, and this is a quick tutorial on what happens in the background for the Mindsmith generator. I think that understanding how the AI generator works in the background will help you craft really nice and effective prompts. So I'm going to walk through each of these fields and what they're doing so that you can get lessons that match your vision for your lesson. I'll use one of the examples from up here, effective communication skills. So we can start with this first box here, the instructions field. The instructions field can be pretty robust, so there's a lot of guidance that you can give the AI here. In this example, we start with the overall topic. So we're teaching effective communication skills. We can also tell it like subtopics that we want to make sure it's hitting. So active listening, email etiquette, giving feedback. We can also give it structural guidance for the AI, which is really cool. So in this example, we're asking it to give accordion elements for in-depth explanations and concluding with scenario-based questions. But maybe I wanted to tell it like end with an in-depth quiz, or with a challenge section that challenges their inductive reasoning. Or maybe I want to say like do a deep dive into content and then provide some like drag and drop interactives. So this is really my chance to tell the AI how I structure lessons within my organization. What do I want this lesson to look like? So pretty robust field. I would recommend following this structure maybe for your first few. So overall topics, subtopics, and then structure. But you can play around with different guidances that you can give the AI here as you are using Mindsmith for your use case. Audience and style guide here, this is more like macro guidance for the AI, so you can give like a small prompt here. You can see this one is just a course for multinational companies onboarding program, or you can provide a ton of context. Like some people will upload entire writing guides here to this field. So you might want to say like, this is for XYZ Corp, or use an upbeat tone, or this is how like our writing style looks in our organization. Or you might want to tell it things like when you're writing assessment questions, only include or do not include like which of these is not type questions, or like any of that sort of macro guidance for the AI that you'd want to give it. Maybe also specific like audiences that you would want to tell the AI about, or like specific definitions of terms. So there's a lot that you can give here. But those are some things to keep in mind, is like, just think of it as anything that would get applied to the entire lesson. The sources field is pretty self-explanatory. You can upload any text-based sources, and we go over some of this in the overview of the generator. But one thing to keep in mind is that after you upload your sources, there are kind of two different ways that the AI will treat your sources. So if you're asking it to use it as a reference, what the AI does is it looks at your instructions, and then it looks at the outline and some of this other context, and then it picks and chooses what from the document makes sense to pull in to support what you're trying to teach. So it's really prioritizing your instructions. Convert, on the other hand, is really prioritizing the content in the document. So it's for the use case of, I want to turn this document, this one document, into a dynamic interactive e-learning module. So for Convert, you can only upload one document because it's really for that specific use case. Whereas using it for a reference, you can upload as many documents as you need. We just limit you to 15,000 words. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is it will help the AI sort of hone in if you tell it specific pages within the document that you want it to pull from. Another thing to note is that Convert will have the option to auto decide with AI the length of the lesson, whereas using it as a reference, you'll have to tell us exactly the length that you're hoping for there. So if you noticed here, I just clicked generate outline and then waited for the outline to generate. This is going to be a key feature when you're creating lessons in Mindsmith. But essentially, it's going to be the same prompting mechanism as what you'll do here in instructions in just a more granular way. So the idea behind this is that you can kind of catch things before it's like fully generated by the AI, and you can get more specific in the guidance you're giving the AI on these certain concepts. So what the AI did is it looked at the instructions you gave, the audience and style guide, the sources, it looked at the length, and it said, what's a structure for a lesson that makes sense here? And then kind of gave you an overview of the structure. So if you really kind of have specific expectations of what your lesson is going to look like, or you want it to look like, this is the place to really kind of hone in on that. So you can, you could tell it, use a story to explain active listening, or use lots of drag and drop activities, or pull in a case study from the real world or whatever. So there's a lot that you can kind of guide the AI on here. So this is a key prompt as you are kind of thinking through how you want your lessons to be structured. I also covered this in the other video, but you'll be able to also set the section archetype. This will be a key feature, and if you have any archetypes as you're building that you feel like would be helpful that you're not seeing, go ahead and let us know and we can build out some new ones. But these are the main ones that we've seen, is I want it to focus on core content. I want it to focus on application. I want it to focus on interactives or assessments, or, some of these more challenging sections. So a lot of options there. Another thing to keep in mind is that you can regenerate this outline a bunch of times, and it saves all of the previous outlines. So some of our power users will generate an outline 4 or 5 times and use this feature more as an ideation technique, and then kind of pick and choose the different sections that they like from all of the different versions of the outline. So that's maybe one pro tip or hack as you are creating lessons here in Mindsmith. So that's basically it. That's a lot of the guidance you'll be able to give the AI here. If you do have any questions or need any more in-depth or hands-on training, you can shoot me an email at ethan@mindsmith.ai. Thanks.